All right, time for our regular post-con update. So, what happened to Johnny this time around? Well, actually, very little. He did lose a screw in one of his tracks there, and then the only other thing that really, and that happened until really last minute when he was coming home. The only other thing that happened was the servo in this arm's goofing up again for the wrist, so I got to figure out what's going on with that. And then his eye servo, which actually had quit before we got there, this servo here is not working properly. So I gotta look into that, see what's going on. Other than that, he held up really well this time. So we'll get digging into those items. Oh, I almost forgot. There was one major catastrophic event that happened at this last con. It was toward the end on the last day. Started hearing some crunching inside this track. And there's usually a cover right here. You can see right there, there's a cover. And that cover popped up and it got caught down in here, and so I was able to get the cover out, and I thought that was the end of it. And then heard some more crunching, and apparently that cover had popped up here some point and knocked the speaker loose, and the speaker got completely chewed up. I don't have any of the pieces or anything to show you. All that's left is the wire because I had to rip it all out to get him out of the convention center. So one of the things we'll be doing is we'll be taking the tracks off here and inspecting everything. I'm sure there'll be some minor damage in there, and then I got a new print running right now for the speaker holder, and then we'll re-engineer this cover so that never happens again. All right, so we get the speaker thing taken care of. Got me a reprint here, and thanks to John Saunders Machine Works. He took my design and modified it a little bit, make it a little easier to get to the screws, and monogrammed it there. So appreciate that, John. That's pretty cool. So here's the speaker that got destroyed. And I'll tell you what I saw since I don't actually have it. But basically, get this out of here. First this went. I started seeing like these pieces here kind of coming out of Johnny. And then there's just, and then this piece came out. This plastic piece around the edge here definitely came out. I saw that, and I was like, what is that from? And then by the time I got this out, this whole back piece didn't exist. All this was gone. I don't even know where this magnet went now I think about it. There's no way it could have crushed it. So maybe that came out when I pulled it out at the end. That's very possible. I just didn't pay attention to it. Probably did, because this whole ring was gone. This was all crushed. About to pull the track off, and we'll do a thorough inspection to make sure there's no damage, make sure none of this is left in there. Yeah, it really destroyed the heck out of it though. Luckily, had a spare. All right, so looking at Johnny here, minimal damage, which I'm freaking surprised, because that hunk of metal went through everything in here. I mean, all these teeth look great. I've already turned it, looks great. Got another cover here that I put in. This one's a little bit different design, so that one should stay in until there's a input ink version of this. And then we right here is where you can see some scarring where that sucker hit. That's the only place I can see that there's actually any damage or any evidence of it. Let me put it that way. I mean, the tracks here look fine. I mean, they get the wear on them, obviously. Nothing significant. And back here looks totally fine. There's no damage or anything. So pretty happy with the outcome. Could have been a lot worse. Yeah, this design is bomb diggity dude modification, because it's slip that right in there, and I can just take that and go right down through there and tighten that up. Sweet. Well, I thought it was gonna be a little simpler than it is, but I should have checked the speaker before I put it back in there, but that's fine. Easy enough to take it back out. No audio. So I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? So I went over to the amp, I checked the amp. Amp is outputting, so that's perfect, because I'm glad the amp didn't die. And I was like, okay, that means there's a break in this wire somewhere. I got to looking at the wire, and you can see it's fat, fat, fat. Then it goes real skinny, 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 back to fat, fat, fat. So right there, that sucker got pulled on, stretched the heck out of it. So I'd be willing to bet it's broken right there. In fact, I could feel it. There's nothing there. There's nothing in there. I'm gonna cut it. All right, here we go. Let's see. Yeah, right there. Yeah, look at that. Not a wire there. Just the casing. That wire is back in there somewhere. So we'll patch that up. Get it back running. All right, that's what it was. So got a patch on the cable here. Went ahead and changed it over to the actual speaker wire. If I had this to do over again, I'll probably replace this cable all the way in, well, all the way into the tube anyway. That's where that cable goes eventually, but got that patched in there, got that mounted back in there, and it's working. I already tried it out, so we're gonna put the track back on now. Oh, and I decided to just leave this cover off for now. I'm not happy with it, so I'm gonna work on it a little bit more, and then we'll put that in later. All right, so now we're gonna work on the arm. So this servo that does the back and forth, and the servo that goes forward and back, have both quit this time. This one's still the Go Build a Servo. So I think it's about 25 kilograms. And then I've got this 41 I put on here, and now something's happened with it. So I'm gonna take it off and diagnose it. We're gonna up it again, folks. We're gonna go to 70 this time. And this servo actually seems to be a really nice one. It's actually quite quiet. So I'm curious to see how well this works. And then if it ends up being a really nice one, I'll pay a little bit more money to put these in. If it means that we got longevity and it's also a little quieter. So that's what we're gonna work on now. Oh my, so this servo, it's actually quite impressive because it's not loud at all. And there's a really good chance I'm going to probably swap out the rest of these because of how quiet this one is. Let me try to show you guys the difference. Grab a laptop here. So here's what like the Go Builders sound like. Pretty loud, right? This is what this other servo sounds like. So much quieter. All right, so we got this. We got these servos swapped out here to the upgraded ones. I know these actually run at like 8 and change voltage wise. So if I do swap out the rest of these, I could actually bring this whole arm up to 8.4 volts, which actually would run a little more efficiently. I did have this knocked down a little bit because the servo that was in there only ran at like 7 volts or 6, something like that. So I bumped that back up to 7.5 or 7.4 as it read. Well, 7.4, yeah, 7.4. So that'll be good. And then let's give this a go. Let's see how, Johnny, you operate here. Would you give me a fist bump? Good job, dude. All right, let's do. Would you say goodbye? Yeah, that's working really nice. Okay, so I think we're in good shape here. Yeah, I can't think of anything else I really need to do. Those are the two main ones that he does with that arm. I do want to tweak on it. This fist bump's a little low. I want to bring that up a little bit, but yeah, I think we're in good shape here. So another thing I did was this servo here during the con, one of the screws had backed off, which was his thumb. So I got that recalibrated and got that reattached. So things are rocking and rolling now. All right, so I went to recharge my cylinders and found something very disturbing here. That sucker backed right out of there. So another area it looks like I'm gonna need to Loctite. Make sure that doesn't actually back out. And I think while I have it off here, the cylinder feels sticky. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the cylinder and do a rebuild kit on that one because I didn't rebuild these two bottom ones before. I'll also go ahead and do it while I'm in here. And then I noticed that, God, screws on this thing do not like to stay in. And by the way, in all fairness, I did have the screw not tight because when it was tight, it wasn't lining up right. And you can see, oh, look at that. It was coming off there. So that one's definitely backed off. So we're gonna have to Loctite that on and then we'll line it up and then we'll put some Loctite on that and tighten that screw down. All right, so we got the cylinders put back together and looking pretty good. So this side, I ran it last night. Before I ran it, that was like solid. It still got a little bounce to it there. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty solid. I mean, I expected there to be some, you know, leak down and whatnot over time, but I mean, for the most part, it's holding up pretty well. Of course, it's off right now, so cylinders, or the, when I push on it, this might be moving a little bit. But yeah, everything's looking really good, Johnny. So I think that pretty well concludes the post-con update. So thanks for watching, everybody.